Good afternoon, students. So in today's class, we will see the last part of the fifth unit. So in previous class, we have discussed all these topics: entropy, information, properties of entropy and information, and Huffman coding. So we have discussed all these topics. Just wait for a minute. Yeah. So in last class, we have discussed up to this. So now we will continue from here. So in today's class, we will see channel coding theorem. So the statement for the channel coding theorem is for any discrete memoryless channel, all rates below the capacity are achievable. And for the specifically for every rate r less than c, there exists a sequence of 2 power double dash comma n codes with a maximum probability of a error n 0. Conversely, any sequence of 2 comma n codes with n tends to 0 must have a r less than or equal to c. Now we will see the proof for that theorem. So for any random code, C is generated according to the P of X, and that code is then revealed between both the sender and receiver. Both the sender and receiver are also assumed to know that channel transition matrix Py of X for the channel, and a message will be chosen according to a uniform distribution PR of WW 2 dash RW is equal to 1 comma 2 and so on to NR. So here the W code word X double dash of W is sent through over the channel, and the receiver will receive that sequence double dash according to the distribution of P of Y double dash X double dash of W is equal to P of yi slash X of W, and the receiver will guesses which message was sent. So here the receiver will declare that the index W was sent if the following conditions are satisfied. So if these conditions are satisfied, then only that receiver declares the index W was sent. So what are those conditions? We will see now. So the conditions are X double dash of W comma Y double dash is a jointly typical, and there is a no other index W dash W such that X double dash of W dash comma y double dash belongs to A of n, and also let capital E be the event of capital W plus W, and by the symmetry of the code construction, the average probability of the error averaged over all codes does not depends on the particular index that was sent, and we can assume without loss of generality that the message W is equal to 1 was sent. So define the following events. E is equal to X double dash of I comma Y double dash is in A comma I is a I of 1, 2 and so on 2 double dash. So here E is nothing but event that the ith code word and yn are jointly typical, and when recall that Y double dash is the result of sending the first code word X double dash of 1 over the channel. So then an error will be occurred in the decoding scheme if either E occurs or E2 U, E3 U, E2R occurs. Hence, letting P of E denotes the PR of E slash W is equal to 1. So these are all equal. And we can say PR of W is equal to 1, P of EU, ETU, E3U, and so on U, E2R slash W is equal to 1 to NR less than P of E slash W is equal to 1 plus P of EW is equal to 1 comma I is equal to 2. Now the by joint AEP, we can say P of EW is equal to 1 if for n sufficiently large, and the probability that X double dash of I and Y double dash are jointly typical is 2 minus 2 to n1 xy minus 3e comma I plus or minus 1. Thus we can say P or of epsilon is equal to P or of epsilon W is equal to 1 less than or equal to P E1 E W is equal to 1 plus summation I is equal to 1 to 2 pi r P of EI slash W is equal to 1 and which is less than 2 epsilon. So if the n is sufficiently large and r is less than ixy minus 3, hence we can say if r is less than ixy, we can choose and n so that the average probability of error averaged over the code books and code words is less than the 2e. To finish the proof, we need a series of reasoning and code selections. The next one is binary symmetry channel. So in the binary symmetry channel, we can define as follows. So if you observe here, P of y1 is alpha and P of y2 is 1 minus alpha. So here we are having it the x1, x2 and y1, y2. So the arrow marks represents P and 1 minus P. So here we will represent h of y by x as is equal to minus summation I and summation j P of xi yj into P of yi yj by xi. And also we can represent in the form as P of y by x x1 and x2, y1 and y2, 1 minus p, p, p and 1 minus p. And also we will represent like this p of xy. So here we will write h of y by x as minus of alpha into 1 minus p log 2 of 1 minus p plus alpha p log p plus 1 minus alpha p log 2 p plus 1 minus alpha into 1 minus p log of 1 minus p, and we can written as minus of p log 2p plus 1 minus p log 2 of 1 minus p. And we can say I of xy is equal to h of y minus h of y by x. So we just substitute the h of y by x value here. So after replacing the h of y by x value, we get f of xy is equal to h of y plus p log 2p plus 1 minus p log 2 1 minus p. So I'm just substituting the h of y by x value here. And the next one is a differential entropy. So we can say it is used when the binary data is affected by a noise and PDF is constant, continuous. So it can be written as h of x is equal to minus integral f of x log to f of x dx. And also we can say h of x is equal to minus summation j p of xi log to p of xi. Now we will see the information channel capacity theorem. So the channel capacity is defined as the maximum possible rate of information through the channel, and we can also define it as a Shannon-Hartley theorem. So we can say Shannon-Hartley theorem or a channel capacity theorem. So the basic definition will be like this. The channel capacity is defined as the possible rate of information transferred through the channel. And Shannon-Hartley defined channel capacity as C is equal to B log to 1 plus S by N. So here we can say C is the channel capacity and B is the bandwidth, S is a signal power and N is a noise power. So now we will see the proof. So received power is equal to signal power plus noise power, and it means the value is represented by square root of S plus 1, S plus N, and noise N is represented as capital N and is a square root value of a root of N. The number of levels error is M is equal to square root of S plus N by root of N. So we can write it as M is equal to square root of S plus N by N. So by writing individually, we can write it as N gets cancelled. N by N means 1. So we can write it as square root of 1 plus S by N. So in digital information, we can say information is equal to log 2 of M. So I is equal to log 2. So here we are having a M value square root of 1 plus S by N, right? So I'm just substituting that value here. So I is equal to log 2 of square root of 1 plus S by N. Then we can write it by removing the root, we can write it as a half. So I is equal to log 2 1 plus S by N whole power 1 by 2. And that 1 by 2 can be written before the log. So we can write it as I is equal to half log to 1 plus S by N. So if we transmit the K pulses per second, then the channel capacity will be C is equal to IK. So C is equal to, just substitute the I value here. So K by 2 log 2 of 1 plus S by N. So I'm just placing the I value here. So that is the capacity value. And Nyquist bandwidth is K is equal to 2B. So in place of K, just substitute 2B. So here we're having K, right? So in that place, just substitute 2B. So we will write it as C is equal to 2B by 2 log to 1 plus S by N. So 2 gets cancelled. Then we can write C is equal to B log 2 of 1 plus S by N. So if the bandwidth is increases, then the noise also increases. Then the channel capacity is infinite. If eta by 2 is power density, then capital N is equal to eta B. And C is equal to B log to 1 plus S by, so in place of capital N, I'm just writing eta B. Or we can simply write C is equal to 1.44 S by eta. A communication system will be capable of transmitting information at the rate of B log to 1 plus S by N is called as the ideal communication. So in any ideal communication, the capable of transmitting information rate will be B log to 1 plus S by N. Now we will see the implications of information capacity theorem. So first one is bandwidth compression, and the second one is the signal exchange to noise ratio go or bandwidth, and third one is it gives a maximum upper reliable data transmission rate over the Gaussian channel. And the next one is rate distortion. So the rate distortion theory will calculate the minimum transmission bit rate for a given distortion and a source. So it calculates the minimum transmission bit rate, and the rate distortion theory are obtained without consideration of a specific distortion. So distortion D is equal to source, coder, decoder and sink. So in between coder and decoder there is a bit rate R. So it is the rate distortion. Simply we can say the it calculates the minimum transmission bit rate for a given distortion and source. So that is about the rate distortion. So that's it for the today's class. Thanks for watching. So in today's class, we have seen about the channel coding theorem, and also we have seen the remaining topics of the 5th unit. Thanks for watching.